Hey, what about? Okay, so one of the things that a lot of businesses that I work with, and even my own business, one of the things we get stuck on is the planning stages because we start with this great idea that we want to get loads of stuff done, and by the time you get to the end of the first week, you've lost focus, momentum shifted, everything's screaming out for your attention, and what started as a great idea just becomes another thing that's tossed to the side. So one of the things that I do with my clients is we use a framework. So we build everything around a 6 week cycle, but we actually use a framework that sits within inside it called ARC. And ARC is really the driving force. It's the engine, it's the fire in your belly, it's the thing that's going to take that idea and actually not just document it down, but really get the reasons why you're doing it, the burning desire, and the actions that you're going to be able to do, either yourself or your team, to move it from an idea into an outcome. And we use what we call an impact planner. It's something that helps you strategize what it is, get really into the detail, what you need to have. And I'm just going to show you over these next few minutes or so part of the system and how it works as well. So let's jump into this section first over here. What we're going to do is we need to document down the things that you want to get done. So the first part is of ARC is called achieve. What is it that you want to achieve? And this needs to be something that's really clear, not fuzzy. So it can't be, work on the website because it's too vague. You need to really dig into what it is that you're going to be working on. So you're going to say, I'm going to launch that landing page for my lead magnet or for that new product service package offer, whatever it is. But you're going to be really clear about what that actual offer is. And there might be a few different things that you want to achieve. So you need to document them down first so you know exactly what it is that you're doing. And I think that one of the things that we often do in business is we get good about having ideas and we think we've got to execute on them all. So we'll have 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 different ideas and then we just try and do a little bit off each. And it gets tiresome, it gets hard work. And even if you've got a team, the team's busy, they're doing work, the client work, you're doing busy because you're out there selling and networking and doing the proposals at 11 o'clock at night. You're doing all this stuff. The last thing you need is 9 more ideas or 7 more ideas to jump into. So really what we've got to then decide is what's the reason, that's the R of ARC. What's the reason that you want to get this done? And really what we're looking for here is heart. We're looking for the thing that makes your heart beat. We're looking for the thing that's giving you the fire in your belly. We're looking for the thing that is going to really get you excited. So when the tough gets tough, you keep going because you've got more than just an idea now. You've got a burning desire. It's something that's hardwired into yourself to make an impact, to really run through walls to get the things that you've set out to. After you've done that, the next thing that we need to then look at is what actions you need to take to create, which is the C, create momentum. So we need to have things, and I find that if you can pick 3 things that's going to allow you to get momentum. It's like building snowmen. Do you remember as a kid when we used to build snowmen? If you ever went to the field and there were half-built snowman already and there's a big body that's 4 foot like round, trying to move that big boulder was tough. It was hard. Whereas if you got the snowball yourself and you started to roll it and you get momentum, it's only tough when you stop rolling it. And this is what we're trying to achieve here, is we're trying to find what's the thing that's going to get this momentum so that you can start to move forward with it. And like I said at the start, we do this usually over a 6-week cycle. So once you've got the things that you need to do, the next thing that you want to do is decide where this sits in a journey. And a lot of the time you don't have to necessarily do it. So one of the things that you want to do is take these ideas that you've done over here, and we want to be able to put them into a brain dump. So you're going to dump all these ideas down in here. And I don't know about you, but I know me, if I listen to a podcast, if I listen to Spotify, if I watch a video, if I'm out talking to people, I've got a million different ideas firing at all times. It doesn't mean that I should execute on them all. So I need to be able to find somewhere to like brain dump them somewhere else. And once I've put them into that space, what I can then do is I can decide to pick it up at the end of this cycle, and I can have a look at it again and I'll assess it. And that's the kind of stage that we need to be looking at here, is we're going to review. Is this something that we're going to do? Or is it something that we're just going to leave in that dump zone and we're going to come back to that another time as well? So we've got to decide what we're going to do with this. After that, we then decide whether or not we're going to put this into that 6-week cycle. So we're going to have a look at it, and we're going to decide, does this fit the 6-week cycle that we're looking to work towards over this period of time? And again, if it doesn't, listen, it can quite happily just stay in that dump zone for now. At the end of the 6 weeks, what we tend to do is, well, not what we tend to do, what we do is at the end of the 6 weeks is we'll then have a look at it and we will review how things have gone. We'll look at everything that you've been doing, pull it out and really dial in and find out what it looks like. Has it made the impact that you set out to achieve? So there's a few things that we do to firstly get the brain juices flowing and put it into a brain dump, decide how we're going to do it, make sure it's got some heart in it, and it's something that we're going to really kind of get behind. So if the tough gets tough, we can keep on going, and then decide a few steps that we can take to get that momentum. Now, there's another thing that we then need to do is we need to actually put that into a task, what we call a map. And what that map looks like is it's like this here. So you've got, along this map, you've got at the start, you've got the arc. So you've got clarity over what it is that you're trying to achieve. You've got the reason, and you've got the steps. You've got the 3 things that you're going to do. It might be more than 3. Like if there's more than 3, that's totally fine. There might be a bit of a bigger project. So you might break this into several different cycles. It might not be just a 6-week cycle. It could be 12 weeks. It might be a little bit longer than that. So you might have to keep on revisiting it. If you've got a team that looks after sales or marketing or customer success, then you also may, or finance for that matter, you may also have a project in each one of those departments that you're working on, and each one has their own different cycles as well. So it depends on how big you are as a company in terms of what this looks like. But ultimately what we're looking at doing is now moving this into a map. And basically what this map is, a map is really just an acronym for a massive action plan. MAP, massive action plan. And what we need to be able to do is decide what it looks like inside that map, because if you don't know what the components are, the easiest thing for you to do is the minute the going gets tough again and you don't have the right tools or resources or the team's not being assigned properly, then it's really easy for you to just say, well, we'll do this next time, and next time becomes next week, and next week becomes next month, and before you know it, a quarter's passed, and that idea that you actually really want to do has not moved forward at all as well. So we want to make sure that the next thing that we do is, let's go for, what should we use? We're going to use a green on this one. So the next thing that we go for is we decide who is the person who's going to be responsible to get this task done. Because it doesn't have to be you. I mean, obviously if there's just you in your business, then it most likely has to be you unless you've got some freelancers. But we've got to really think about who's the person to do this. If it's a finance role, the finance people do it. If it's marketing, the marketing team, sales, etc., etc., etc. If it's just you and it might be your role, then you decide that I'm the person that will do this. The next thing that we need to then do is we need to actually give it a deadline. Because if we don't have a deadline, we've got no urgency. And that's the real difference, isn't it? When you think about how tasks generally work, what you'll have is you'll have things that's urgent and things that's important. And a lot of the time, if you really think back over this, the stuff that becomes urgent is always client work, always stuff that you're doing for clients. And the things that's important is always your work. And it never becomes urgent because you don't give it a deadline. So what we've got to do is we've got to start trying to hack your own way of getting things done and doing things by giving your own important things deadlines. And if you give it a deadline, you know when it's got to be done. Your team knows when it's going to get done, and everyone can get behind it. Everyone can drive towards it and keep each other accountable. The next thing, once we've got the deadline in place, we need to then decide what resources we need to get things done. Because, so wet my whiskers, as I've just mentioned, no deadline, no resources. The easiest thing for you to do when you don't have the right tools or resources is say, I'll do it next week because I've not got everything at my fingertips. So you've got to really get all excuses out of the way. James Clear talks about this fantastically in his book about habit stacking. And in essence, what we're trying to do is a similar kind of thing is, if you want to get up in the morning and go to the gym, the best thing for you to do is put your trainers and your gym gear at the side of the bed so that you do that, and you walk downstairs and your gym bag's ready for you to go, and your car keys are next to the door. Like you stack all these different things so that it's a lot easier for you to be able to do it. Cool. So we've got so far what we've got. We've got what we're going to achieve. We've got a reason for it. We know what steps we're going to take. We know who's going to do it. We've got a deadline. We've got all the resources in place to make this happen. The next thing that we've got to be very mindful of is problems. So what problems are we most likely, just write this down, problems. What problems are we most likely to bump into? And how do we overcome them? So if you are likely to be distracted by shiny stuff, trending stuff, tactic stuff, getting pulled into client meeting stuff, what you've got to think about is what's going to stop me doing this task, and more importantly, what do I need to do to stop it? Is it time, and do I need to block out protected time so that I don't get pulled into anything else, no other meetings get booked in that time, and it means that I have dedicated protected time to get this done. You've got to think about the problems, and the solutions as well. So how are you going to overcome them problems? And then finally, we finish with a result. So, did this work? Did it not work? Did it really, really work? Or did it surprise you? So this is the, excuse me, this is the outcome, the results. And it's really up for you to then assess it and really look at it and think, yep, do you know what? This was just a bit meh. This didn't work as well as we thought it would have done, but I think that the reason it didn't is because of this, and this. Or it did work, it's really made an impact, and this really surprises. We didn't anticipate this, but this really surprises and opened up a different direction for us to consider. So you've got a real clear plan now. You know, again, what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, you know what you've got to do, who's responsible, the deadline, you've got all the resources in place, you've got the problems and how to fix the problems should they arise, and you know what you're going to look to measure at the end of it. The next thing is actually making this happen. So we do this, and I mentioned this at the start, through like a 6-week cycle, and I think that what this does is it's much better than a 90-day plan. And 90-day plans are good because they do keep you somewhat focused, but let's be honest, we all have shiny syndrome. We're all very easy just to drift off, aren't we, and look at all these different things that we need to do. So we'll start with great intent and we never get to finish it. So what we'll look to do is bring this down to 6 weeks. And by bringing it down to 6 weeks, 6 weeks is enough time to make an impact. Quite a big impact if you get this stuff right. But it's short enough for you to stay focused as well, so that it's not going to drag on for a long time. You've got a real clear end. And what we're going to do at the end, you're going to look at things. So what does this look like? Let me just put this screen back on for you. So what this looks like is that we have 6 weeks, which is here. And this 6 weeks really is for you to then go and execute and do the tasks. At the end, you have a 2-week window to be able to review this. And you look at all the things that you have done, like we just mentioned, look at the outcomes, and you assess them and you measure them, and you decide whether or not, when you do this next cycle, if you're going to do this as a cycle next, what you need to take out, what you need to keep in, and the things that surprise you the most, how you can add them in there as well. And what we tend to do when I now work with clients, we go through this cycle is, let's get a different colour. Let's use the purple. No, we're going to use blue actually. We're going to use blue. So what we do is every 2 weeks, we'll have a check-in. Every 2 weeks. And really what we're looking at doing here is we're trying to assess where you are on this particular journey. So what tends to happen is you'll start off and you build that momentum up, and that momentum dips. And then we start up and that momentum dips. And you get a bit of a pattern going like this. And really what we're looking for is, when we're coaching, is we're looking at how do we get you up here as quick as possible so you feel really excited. And when you start to lull and you start dropping off down here, what we've got to assess is why that's happening, and how we get you back on track, or whether it's a full course correct, so that we make sure that you're making these impacts every time you dip, so you finish on a high and you get all the stuff done that you need. Cool, hope that's really helpful for you. If you want a copy of the ARC planning system that we use, I've got a spreadsheet. You can get it in the description below. Also, there's a really cool, nifty little ChatGPT bot that we've built that, again, I'll put the link below, and that's going to help you create this 6-week planner. It's called an impact planner, and inside it, ARC sits inside it as well. So you can get the ARC sheet so you can see what that looks like, but also if you want to use the nifty little GPT planner. I'll put a link down there as well. Guys, one more favour. If you like this stuff, subscribe. It really makes a big difference. Tell people about it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what it is that you liked. And if not, do you know what? We'll see you on another video. But I'm dropping these all the time. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let's go. Let's make an impact.